All right, well, since I started this and I'm on a roll, I guess we can continue with Volume 2 from the Azov Crypt. First on the agenda here, we have I Accuse by a German. It's a bit of World War I propaganda published in 1915, emphasizing, of course, Germany's exclusive war guilt. What else we have here? This is The Russian Revolution by Isaac Don Levine, later became a prominent Russian expert for the State Department. This one was published, I believe, in June of 1917, and we have a front plate showing Prince George E. Lvov, president of the All-Russian Union of Zemstvos and premier of the provisional government. It's an interesting volume that quickly became outdated. Interesting for that reason. All right, onwards and upwards. We have Young India by Mahatma Gandhi. This is a collection of his newspaper writings from the publication of the same name. This is published in 1927, and is a collection of his articles in Young India from 1924 to 1926. All right. This is the original 1931 edition of Red Bread. I don't know if you can see that, by Maurice Hindus. Recalling his return to his native village in Russia, which was undergoing collectivization at the time, and what he found there. He was a very prolific writer from the 1920s through the 1960s on Russia. During the McCarthy years, he had to leave the U.S. and live in England, where he eventually came to stay and passed circa 1970-71. Anyway, Red Bread, original edition. Okay, here, get my friggin' arm out of the way. This is, be very careful with this. This is the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of the French, with a preliminary view of the French Revolution in 2 volumes. Unfortunately, I can only find volume 1, published in Exeter by J.M.B. Williams, 1828. On the flyleaf here we have George Robert Gill, Washington, Mason County, Kentucky. Bought at auction, 1867. Price, 2 volumes, 50 cents. Original cost, $10. All right. Moving along here. That's Colonel R.G. Ingersoll's 44 complete lectures, complete as they were by 1880 when this was published. Somebody's inscribed on the flyleaf, "It's well to read all sides of every question." Okay, a frontispiece of the Colonel. Okay, I'm assuming this is 1880 because the last dated lecture here is 1880. Past and present gods, how gods grow. Articles on blasphemy. His feud with Reverend Talmage of New York. God's intellectual development, human rights, hereafter, religious intolerance, heretics and heresies. Plea for individuality and arraignment of the church. All right. And I'll bring Volume 2 to a close here with the Black Book of Poland. This is published during the Second World War by G.P. Putnam's under the Polish government in exile. Polish National Council in London is the compiler of this volume. On the back, history's blackest pages might still be written here. Buy U.S. war bonds and stamps. All right. That concludes Volume 2. I'll go ahead and wrap this up. And remember, always thank you for choosing YouTube as your form of communication.